All right, so here are the problems. Your revenue per client's lower than you want it to be. You don't have as many clients as you want. Clients try to negotiate fees every year. Clients complain about how much tax they have to pay. You have trouble raising client fees. Your sales meetings are boring and lack a compelling pitch. You're not having many sales meetings. That's a big one, isn't it? Or your clients are not raving fans of your practice. They're not referring people to you. That's a big problem, isn't it? These are all problems that I had, and one of the reasons that I created Tax Planner Pro. I'm going to show you some ideas and a software that's going to help you turn these problems around and make them the compelling reasons clients want to come to your firm. And if I don't answer these questions very well to you, you're not going to have any interest in my product. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time before we actually show you the software on why you need to be implementing this product and this plan into your practice. You're going to hear me say this. It needs to be as common and as core to your tax or accounting practice as Word or Excel or QuickBooks or Xero or your tax software. All of these different softwares we use and say we couldn't live without them. I'm here to tell you tax planning software should be in that category. My name's Christopher Reagan. I own a small firm in Naples, Florida called Reagan Financial. I'm also the founder of Tax Planner Pro. I created a software called LedgerSync that you may have heard of. It is a bank software. And then ProHub 360, which is a portal for accountants. Let's talk about why tax planning is so important. What I'm going to try and prove in this presentation is that tax planning brings in more revenue. It brings in more clients. It allows you to charge premium fees. It makes customers smile. It creates them or turns them into these referral engines. And tax planning will change your firm for the better. It will be the single most important service you offer your clients from here on out. If I do my job well in these next several minutes, you are going to see a different way to operate your firm and how you present your firm to prospective clients, to current clients, and how you earn money. This is a great slide. It is from the Sleater Group. The Sleater Group puts together each year a research report about what small and medium businesses are wanting and needing from their accountants and their CPAs. This particular slide is from their information, and it is a measurement of what the different factors of why they left their CPA. And as you can see at the top here, it says, what role were each of these factors in your decision to leave the CPA on a scale of 1 to 10? So the absolute highest reason why people leave their CPAs is that they did not give proactive advice. And that should make a lot of sense to you, because clients come to accountants and CPAs and EAs because they want advice. They are not buying compliance services, although in many cases that is what we're selling them, isn't it? But what they really want is the advice, the how do you save me money? How can you show me something that I didn't know? Down lower is another interesting reason they leave, and that's not using state-of-the-art technology. I think this, over time, is going to start inching its way up the ladder, because clients are now starting to understand all of the different technology and apps and things that can help them do their job. And if we are not being proactive in how we recommend and implement those solutions for them, they're going to eventually say, you know what, I'm going to find somebody who does. So that fits right into our tax planning talk here, because what clients want, here in the top 6 reasons that they leave, number 1, they want you to be proactive. Well, what do we think proactive is? In the next slide, I'm going to talk about that, but I bet it is a lot of where's the tax planning? Where are you saving me money? Or how are you making me money? They measure us based on this kind of thing. So what does it mean to be proactive? It starts really with a culture, doesn't it? That you're going to set out to be a proactive accounting firm. And you have to start trying to get ahead of client issues rather than waiting until they email or call you. And if you're one of those, and I know what it's like because I was here, that more or less waited for clients to call me and have a problem before I was trying to get ahead of them, ahead of those issues, that creates a lot of client stress. So here's what clients want you to suggest in being proactive here, and it's a little list: lower cost vendors, tax strategies, which is what we're going to focus on here today, new sources of revenue, networking opportunities, software that can help them. Again, this is a big one. It was the reasoning for them leaving in that 6th highest reason in that previous slide. More technology, possible errors or internal control issues, and really, right, they want you looking forward, not back. Here is something I want to show you as it relates to revenue. This is the pricing packages on my website at Reagan Financial. And I use these quite a bit whenever I talk about Tax Planner Pro because it is the single biggest reason why I make premium fees at most income levels. And you may be charging more than this and you are charging premium fees as well. But if you're not, if you take a look at what we're doing here and you say, you know what, I'm not getting that amount for that kind of client, then tax planning may be a entry point or a way that you can start to do this. So let me show you what's going on here. I've got 3 basic packages, 3 packages. One is called the basic, then the pro and the elite. And as you can see over here in the elite, it's obviously the best one, or at least has the most services. And it all revolves around tax planning. You get the free Tax Planner Pro, you get the full tax projection and planning module, and you get the RF $1 tax guarantee. Look at what the difference in pricing is between those two here. The Pro package is $199 versus $299 at this 0 to 100 grand level. And this is gross revenue, not profit. This is top line gross revenue. Look at what it's like down here at the $450,000 to $600,000 level. It goes from $425 to $560. Something you should know, and if you decide to take a test drive of Tax Planner Pro, you're going to get the Tax Planning Mastery course, and we talk a lot about this, but 94% of my clients are in the Elite package, and I have about 350 business clients. So 94% of them are in this Elite package. Look at the difference between what it makes at the $600 or the $450,000 to $600,000 level. At $425 on the Pro package to $560 on the Elite package. So this is really a lot of money to be migrating from the Pro package to the Elite package. And the only difference, the only reason they're doing that is because there's tax planning involved. And I make all of my sales presentations about tax planning. Really, my entire firm is based on this idea that clients want to pay less tax and that tax planning is a really big deal to them. So I can tell you the proof is there that tax planning can lead to premium fees. It can lead to more clients because you're being proactive. So those clients that are leaving accounting firms are looking for a proactive accountant, and they're going to find it if you're offering this kind of service. It leads to more happy clients that smile and recommend you more because they're satisfied. They feel like you're being proactive and aggressive. So it really comes back to how do you grow your business and how do you make money using a service like this, and why it should be so core to your whole firm. Just as common as Word or Excel or QuickBooks or if you use portals or vaults for your clients, all of these softwares that we use, this is just as important, your tax planning software. So, let's get into why do clients want tax planning? So why is it that they want to pay all that money for this? Well, first of all, clients don't like tax surprises, do they? It's probably the number one fear that I have whenever I go into a tax return that I have not done tax planning for with a client, which is very rare for our firm now, but back in the day, it used to be every single client I had. And you fear that huge tax number that suddenly comes out when you're done with the return and you go, oh my gosh, they're gonna rip my head off for this. They're gonna be so mad. Well, why is it that they're that way? It's because they hate tax surprises. They also want to know that an accountant is being aggressive. And aggressive doesn't mean illegal. Aggressive means you're trying to find every single thing you can to help them save money. If you're not doing that, they instantly begin to shop you. At least in their mind, if not physically actually shopping you. But in their mind, they start to say, you know what? As long as his fees stay low, I'll stay there, which is not a good thing, right? You don't want them staying with you because you're cheap, but they'll do that. And as soon as you start to try and raise prices, they'll say, you know what? This isn't a good fit for me. You're not being aggressive enough. Clients want to use those tax savings to grow their business. And also, they've been burned by poor advice. They've been burned by someone who said, you know what? A sole proprietorship is always the best form of a business for you, no matter what. Well, why didn't you explore other ways that I could be structured or other things I could be doing? That was the lack of advice translates to them as poor advice, i.e., they want to leave. Clients use tax savings to value accountants, don't they? And think about in your personal life, is there anything that you use the product or what they're doing for you as a way to value it? I know for me, before I hire an attorney, I think to myself, what's the value going to be from this? It's not so much is the attorney worth what they charge, I'm sure they are, but is it really worth it to me to have them? Or can I do this on my own? Or can I find something that is more in my value proposition? They're going to say the same things, and they're going to do it via what kind of tax savings are you creating for me? And clients fear the IRS. They don't like audits, right? So one of the ways that I also sell tax planning is by saying you don't want to have an audit. Tax planning is not just about saving money. It's about making sure we're doing things correctly and not rushing things at the end of the year. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you kind of rushed a tax strategy or even thought to yourself, I really don't want to lose this client. I really don't want this client to be mad at me. Maybe I should just do something that isn't exactly the way that I want to do it. Like, I'm going to let them be an S corporation all year because they get out of some self-employment tax, even though their S corp was only operational for 6 months. Don't do that. If you had tax planning, you can start to see, oh gosh, we're going to have a tax problem. Let's make some changes. Clients don't understand how all these pieces fit together, but they want to pay as little tax as possible. That's the most important point. They want to pay as little tax as possible. How can you prove to them that you're that kind of advisor when it comes to taxes if you're not doing some active tax planning that you can point to and say, I saved you this money. Here's what I did for you. Here is my value. How can you say that you're doing the tax planning and saving them as much as possible if you don't have a plan? And in our case, I think software helps prove it, that you're doing this work for them. And here is something that's just one of my pet peeves, and it's because I used to have to do it all the time. Are you giving away tax planning? So, how often, I had a client just the other day, because it's tax season 2016 as I'm recording this. So they asked me a question, so what can we do to get this tax amount down? Now, this is someone I had done tax planning with, unfortunately, and they still wanted to figure it out. And you want to know why? Because they think I'm a superhero. They think I know how to get rid of all tax. And I had some other ideas that they didn't implement during the tax planning meeting that were still available at tax time. But how often do you get this question of, so what can we do to get this tax amount down? It's tax season, and you go, well, the tax year's ended, there's not much we can do. How often do you get that question? Do you get that sick feeling I was talking about in your stomach when a tax return comes up with this huge amount due, and you've got to explain to a client that is unsuspecting of that this amount's coming to them, and you're going to have this terrible moment with them where they're really upset and they're going to blame you? Get out of that game. Tax planning is the key to that. Scrambling to put together SEP IRAs and last-minute tax strategies, these are all issues that tax planning takes away. And at the same time, you're going to make more money. I'm going to show you how to do it. This plan will eliminate all that. Let me show you what I mean by this plan. I'm going to show you the software after this PowerPoint presentation here. But what you also get with Tax Planner Pro is the Tax Planning Mastery course. And each of these boxes represents a different video that is in the course. Each of these videos are between 20 and 45 minutes long. It really is about 16 hours of videos that really are hugely popular with everyone who's signed up for them so far. I get emails probably once a week of accountants saying, Chris, this really opened my eyes. Chris, I'm selling more clients. Chris, I just had a great sales meeting and I made it all about tax planning, and they signed up for my biggest package. It was the easiest sales meeting I've ever done. I get those comments constantly, and it's because of this course. So not only are we giving you the software to be able to tax plan for all of your clients in your firm, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on not just how to do tax projections and do tax planning, but how to sell it. Different selling techniques I use in my firm, different tactics, different tools that I use, all of the intellectual property that we use to bring clients into the firm. My secrets to all of it are packed in this course, and you get it as part of a subscriber to our software. And I'm going to show you where those are at inside the software here during the demo. But just know that beyond this PowerPoint that we're talking about here, I've got lots and lots of resources for you to use. And I've got even more than what I'm showing here. I just recorded a video about how to, during tax season, convert your clients to packages. And it's a really easy way. It's how I converted all my clients to flat fee packages where they give me a credit card and I charge the credit card every month whether we've done the work or not. How great would that be? Your cash flow is always stable and you don't have to wait for the client to turn in work to get paid. You get paid at the same time on the same day every month whether they've turned it in or not. I'm going to show you how to do all of that inside of this course. So it's a really valuable resource. So finally, let me make this point. Proactive firms embrace a lot of things, and they embrace tax planning. They embrace not only tax planning, but they embrace every facet of trying to be proactive so that they're not one of those firms where clients are leaving trying to find that proactive firm. We don't lose clients at Reagan Financial. We bring in about 5 new clients a month. Think about that. What would 5 new clients a month mean to you? Our average client is about $3,000 a year. So that's about $15,000 of new revenue a month we bring in. And the way that I do it is all through tax planning. That's why I built the software, is I needed the software to back up what I was already doing in my firm. I'll show you how to do all of this. If you ask 100 clients if they want to lower their taxes, you're going to get 100 clients that say yes. So don't think that you're saying to yourself, well, I don't really have any clients that pay for tax planning. That's your fault. They all want it. So let me show you how to get them to pay for it, right? Don't say to yourself, well, I don't really do that much tax planning in my firm. We're just all compliance, and if I did a lot of tax planning, Chris, I think this would be a great product. That's the wrong way to look at this. All of your clients want it. You're just not offering the right service. Let me show you how to do it. It's really, really easy. It should be a core offering, no different than your tax return software, your bookkeeping software, no different than responding to IRS notices, no different than Word or Excel or QuickBooks. This software needs to be just a part of your firm. Don't say, well, how am I going to make money off of this? I'm going to show you how to do that. Like, that's not the issue. What the issue is, you've got to take the leap of faith right here. And I'm going to show you the software, and it's not going to be a sales pitch. It's going to take you just through the software in great detail so you can see exactly how it works. But I want you to take that leap, and after you watch, sign up for a month of Tax Planner Pro, the accountant portal, and let me show you how this whole system can really open your eyes and make your firm a more profitable firm, a more fun firm to own, and the kind of firm your clients want to rave about. Sound fair? All right, let's dive into the software. Let me show you around. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so to show you the software, what I've done here at first is separated out the two different softwares that kind of come together with Tax Planner Pro when you're an accountant. On the left is the accountant portal, and this is where you'll find your client list, and by clicking any one of these clients, you'll go into their client software. And over on the right is the actual Tax Planner Pro software. Most of the functionality is in the client side here. And we built this first. And what we did is we built the accountant's portal on top of it. So most of the work that you do inside Tax Planner Pro will actually be on this client side. The main purpose of having these two things work together is to make sure that we provide the accountant a very seamless and easy experience. And as I'll mention at the end as well, if you're an accountant, you get a huge discount on the Tax Planner Pro software versus what it would cost you if you bought it, quote unquote, retail for each of your clients. So first, what I want to do is jump into the client software and take you on a tour through that, and then we'll circle back over to the accountant software. So I've enlarged the client software here, and one important aspect of Tax Planner Pro is you can be in the software, in this side of the software, at the same time as your client. You'll both have individual logins. You don't have to set up your client with their own login if you don't want to. Your client does not have to know that you have Tax Planner Pro. But if you decide to give them access, which I'll show you how to do when we get over to the accountant portal side, you both can be in here at the same time. You can be changing information. You can be reviewing the software together, and you won't have a problem. So that's a nice thing. You don't need any kind of software that allows you to log in, something like that. There are three main features to Tax Planner Pro. The first of which is this summary that you're seeing. You can see we're on the summary tab, and the summary presents some graphs and both the business summary and the personal summary sections, which are individual tax projections. But in addition to the summary, the next feature set I'm going to show you is the planning feature set and then the simulator. So I'm going to go in depth in these three main pieces of the software, and then we'll also touch on sync settings and profile that are over here on the left. But first, let me show you what the summaries are. We've intentionally put together this screen because we think it makes a lot more sense to the client of how all of this works. At the top, you have several graphs. This is what their tax due currently is projected to be, income by month, business income by source. Anytime they want to look at kind of some summary information in a graphical way, these graphs are there for that. But the more important sections of this screen are the business summary and the personal summary, and they're side by side so that we quickly are showing clients that the business and the personal work together. They work in tandem. This is not in a vacuum. We're going to try and teach clients how to get away from this idea of, well, my business is my business, and then my personal tax return is my personal. That's not the way this works, as you know. So over on the business summary, we have a full tax projection for the business that ends in taxable income down here. That taxable income then automatically translates over to the business income side of their personal tax projection, along with all the other personal elements that go on their personal projection, and ends in what we believe the tax due is going to be. And if they had payments or credits in excess of the tax due, it would actually show a refund here. Both of these projections have an edit button. See these right here? These edit buttons allow you to go in and change the variables of each projection. The first one I'm going to show you is the business summaries edit button here. Let me click into here. So what we see are three columns. In this first column, because this client has synced over to QuickBooks Online, we see what is in their QuickBooks as of February 19th, 2016. That's the last time Tax Planner Pro went in and pulled this information. Now, this is QuickBooks Online. If your clients use QuickBooks Desktop, that is going to be released in April of 2016. So here in a couple months from the date I'm recording this. If your clients use Xero, then that is going to be released in May of 2016. So if you use QBO, QuickBooks Desktop, or Xero, you're going to have syncs in the next 60 days that show or that operate within the software seamlessly, where it will go pull this information for you. If you're not on one of these softwares, keep watching. I'm going to show you on the Accountants Portal side a special function we have for you that allows you to still use Tax Planner Pro, but you don't have to sync it over to your bookkeeping software. So here we see what is in QuickBooks as of basically today or a couple days ago. Over in the middle, we see what the projected amounts are for the end of the year. And this is critical. One thing to keep in mind when you're talking about tax projections, we always need to be thinking about tax projections as an annual calculation. There's no way to calculate what someone's tax due is for January through May. It doesn't work that way. What we're really doing is calculating their tax for January through December, right? And then we're kind of doing a calculation of what's 5 months of that. So if we're trying to figure out what something in May is, it's kind of an illusion. We're always really trying to get at the projected amount. So when you're in Tax Planner Pro, you're always going to see us projecting things out to the end of the year so that we're calculating what the total tax is, and then you can decide how much of that total tax you've earned so far versus what you're going to earn in the future. But in this projected column, we are taking the amounts from each of these categories, and we're using what's called the annualization method. That is where we take today's date and we actually annualize it out to 12/31 to get this projected amount. In the third row over here, in the third column, I mean, is the overrides. And as you can see, I've got an override here of $720,000. Any of these amounts, these are the income amounts, and if I scroll down, we'll see all the deductions. Any of these amounts can be overridden so that instead of using the annualized amount that's in the middle column, you can use whatever amount you want. So you have complete control and total flexibility as it relates to how you want the actual tax projections to come through. And if I take a look at what's on the summary page, it is not this amount, it is the overridden amounts, and the totals are the overridden amounts as well. So whatever you override is what is actually going to be sent back to the summary page. Now, as I scroll down to the bottom, I want you to notice down here at the bottom we have the net income summary. And we have the net income currently shown in QuickBooks. We have the net income if we were using the annualization method, and then the net income of the override or the overridden column. This is what's actually going to go out to that front summary screen. But something to take a look at is, see how taxable income is a little different from net income? That is because Tax Planner Pro is looking for any account that has the word meals or entertainment in it and is cutting that expense in half, just like the tax return does. So this is even taking a calculation and taking a little bit further with artificial intelligence and looking for tax adjustments that need to be made to the financials. We also have the percentage of business owned by taxpayer. Let's say you didn't own 100, or the taxpayer didn't own 100% of the business and instead owned, let's say 50%. And I'll click Save. And I'll scroll back down. Now we're showing only 50% of the business, and here, look right here, only half of the taxable income is going to be sent to the personal tax return. So this allows you flexibility. If the taxpayer that you work for does not own the entire business, you can show how much of it they own, and only that percentage of income gets sent over to their personal tax return. So now let's go back out to the summary screen. In here, now you can see that the taxable income's been cut in half from what it was, and that is the amount that comes over to the personal tax projection. Let's now analyze a little bit of this personal summary. So you have some very familiar categories here. These follow what are on the personal tax return, the 1040, of course. And if I come into the edit screen for the personal summary, this summary looks a little bit different, right? Because we can select what the filing status is, what kind of business it is, because as you know, an S corporation has different attributes from a partnership or a sole proprietorship. You can put their state of residency in here, how many dependents they have. And then this screen is all about the data entry of the personal tax side of things. In these screens, what we've done is we've allowed you to enter just about any kind of information you want to for the personal tax return, and we've put it and grouped it in such a way to where it follows the 1040 to some degree. So if you have a 1040 in front of you, you can quickly pull the amounts off of there and put it into this software. If you don't want to do the data entry and you'd rather send us the 1040s and have us do the data entry for you, we do that for a very nominal fee. Just contact our support. Always remember, these are annual amounts. So we're putting in what the annual amount of mortgage interest is, what the annual amount of property taxes are. That's why it makes it so easy to pull it right off of the 1040. And in most cases, these figures don't change during the year. So you're going to do this once, and then you're going to leave it until probably next year. So unless you know that an amount changed, you can use last year's data and come up with a fairly accurate projection in most cases. So that's the data entry for the personal tax projection. Let me go back out to the summary. So now if you had a client and you have them set up, both their bookkeeping software synced and the data entry done for the 1040, and trust me, the data entry for the 1040 takes you about 2 minutes. Once you get the rhythm of it, it's really, really easy. Now that you have both of these items, let me take you over to the sync settings. This is a screen right here that we can decide how often we want Tax Planner Pro to sync to a client's books. So let's go over here for a second. This is the sync settings screen, and it's really simple. You can choose to sync right now if you want to force a sync. You can disconnect from QuickBooks, and later this will be QuickBooks Desktop and 02. But right here in these sync settings, you can sync to a client's books weekly, monthly, or quarterly. And this should basically follow how often you are doing the bookkeeping. So if you're doing bookkeeping weekly or daily, the weekly setting is probably a good idea. But if you're doing bookkeeping for clients, or the client is reconciling only about monthly, choose monthly. It's not going to affect your tax projection that much, but you don't want bad data in Tax Planner Pro. You don't want unreconciled amounts from the bookkeeping software being synced over. I have a detailed video of how to decide which sync settings to use right here. So you can watch that and it'll give you all the insight that you need on which sync to set up. We also have summary emails by default. They are always turned off so that the system does not send clients any emails, any summary emails. But we have some really neat summary emails that if you turn them on, they will email your client an email that kind of shows them what their tax projection was last month and what it is this month and what the difference is and some other information. So you can turn those on at any time that you want to. So that's the sync settings screen. From here, I'm going to take us over to the planning screen. So let me jump over here. One of the most unique features of Tax Planner Pro is that the software has artificial intelligence. It can suggest to you or to your client tax strategies that will reduce tax and ideas that they're not currently taking advantage of. The planner screen is where we come to see all of that. So we've got an intro video that you can watch to explain how the planner works, but you can also see right now what the current tax projection is for the client. This is the same amount due that is over here on the summary screen. And this is what total tax is. So if the client has paid money in, we're still going to show what the total tax is because we're going to try and get the client that money back. In the purple boxes, we have different planning ideas. Currently, we only have about a dozen of them in here, and some of the most common and beneficial tax strategies. But I can tell you, we're currently working on over 25 more that are going to be in here by this summer. And I'm here to tell you, I can almost guarantee you there are going to be ideas that you've never heard of or seen. I have, by the time we get done, there will be over 40 different strategies. Something that you'll want to note is in most cases, the planner module will have double, even triple the amount of strategies that are needed to reduce the tax all the way down to zero. So what you're seeing here, like with expense acceleration, it's saying there's an opportunity to save $141,000 for this client. This is calculating what these strategies would do for your client's specific situation. This is not a boilerplate calculation. It's actually using the projection and the numbers inside of your client's information to come up with what they really could save. So let's take a look at one of these strategies. And for simplicity's sake, I'll bring up charity. So what the charity summary screen is showing you, and this is true for all of the strategies, you get a written description, a short description of what the tax strategy is. You can watch a video about how to take advantage of the strategy, how to implement the strategy, and lesser known ideas of how some of the strategies work. And then down below that, you have the projected savings box. Now, you have this for every single strategy. And what it usually does, in most cases, it will show you 3 different options of what you can do to take advantage of this strategy. And keep in mind, again, this is custom calculations and numbers for your client. So if your client contributes $6,869 to charity, they really will save $2,720 because it's using the projection information. And here's a few other ideas of amounts that the client can use to save more money. It presents, in this particular case with charity, what your current charitable contributions are, what your current taxable income is. It also has the Tax Planner Pro rankings, which will give you and your client an idea of what the audit risk and how aggressive each of these strategies are. There's also special notes and where to find more information for each of these strategies. So it's really a nice piece where you don't have to come up with what your clients should do once you get them set up in Tax Planner Pro. Tax Planner Pro is going to show them and show you all of the strategies they should take advantage of. That part's the easy part. Really, you just got to take the leap of faith of, I'm going to set all my clients up on this, and we're going to start using this to really save money and deliver that value I talked about before that the clients are willing to pay so much for. Now, once you've decided you're going to use this strategy, if we go back over to the planning homepage, now that we're back to the planning homepage and I've decided to implement charity, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this green thumbs up, and it gives me a little reminder to make sure that I go over to the personal side and enter those contributions that I've made, and to make sure that I do these charitable contributions before the year end. I'm going to click submit, that I've done that, and then see it shades out the box that you've taken advantage of that. And actually, when you enter that information over on the personal side, this amount will change because it knows you've taken advantage of some of it. So it's very intuitive and in most cases intelligent to know what you've already taken advantage of, and then to show you other tax strategies. That's the planner. It's a really exciting piece of Tax Planner Pro, and again, it means you don't have to come up with the strategies for your clients. Tax Planner Pro is going to do all that for you. It makes delivery of this service very easy. So now let's go over to the simulator, and I'll show you this final feature set. So here's the simulator, and it's really cool. What you've got is what the tax projection currently is showing, and you've got various stats about the tax return. And then down on the bottom, you've got different tabs you can go into where you can run what-if scenarios for this client. So let me show you a little bit about how it works. Let's say that we need to add or see what happens to our taxes if our dividends, instead of being $2,300 as they are in the core projection, let's change those to $5,000. Let me show you what happens when we change those to $5,000. See how that changed in real time? This will change the projection to where you can see what happens when you change variables. And if you need to reset it, you can just click this button right over here. Let's go into retirement planning real quick. Let's say we want to do a $15,000 401k employee contribution. There, the client gets to see and you get to see how much they can save. This is a phenomenal feature for once you get your clients set up on Tax Planner Pro. Now you start bringing them in for a meeting. Start delivering that value of saying, let's pull up the simulator and run some what-if scenarios on how to save you some money. Let me show you what we can do. And of course, before the meeting, you've already looked through the planning section and said, I want to show them 5 or 6 different ways that they can save money using the planner ideas. I'm going to show them in the simulator how that works. Inside, and I'm going to show you the tax planning mastery course here when we go over to the accountant portal, but go through that course beforehand and I show you how to use this system to really shock and awe the clients and make them go, oh wow, this accountant is the one for me. This is the proactive accountant I've been looking for, right? This is how we show them how we do that. Each tab has several options. It changes in real time. Use it. It is once I got my client set up on Tax Planner Pro, this is the system that I used quite a bit. And I can come in here and enter estimated tax payments. Of course, our clients don't like to pay these, but let's say they made a $15,000 first quarter payment, then it decreases tax by $15,000 so we can see what they really owe in this situation and in this simulation. So use the simulator. That's the last of the 3 major feature sets. Let me just show you quickly the profile tab. Here you can enter the client's company name and their name as owners. You can change the passwords. You can send a summary email for this client if you want to, force a summary email to be sent out and upload the client's logo right here, and that'll show up right above the navigation side. So I'll come back over to the summary page. So that is a great overview of what the client software looks like. Now let me show you the accountant portal software that is kind of on top of this and that you get as well. So here's the accountant portal, and this is the client list. This is the home screen. It's not flashy, but it's very functional. So if I want to go into a client, all I have to do is click one of these names and I'll get to go into that client. Let me show you, however, and you've got a navigation right here to where you can navigate to whatever client you want, and on the next screens that becomes more interesting. But let me just show you how to set up a new client. We click the new client button here, and all we have to enter is the name, so Jim Sample can be his name, and the email, if you want to enter the email, can be jsample@test.com. And I'll create this client. Now look what happened. I've set up the email, but the portal did not send JSample any kind of email or any kind of login credentials at all. Remember, I said we're not going to do that. I know how sensitive client communication is, and I did not want to build a software that just fired off emails without me knowing anything about it. Instead, what we've done is we've said, okay, if you want to grab his JSample's temporary password right here, you can just copy and paste this into your own email system and tell him how to log in to his Tax Planner Pro account. If you don't do that, he will never know. We are not going to send him emails unless you set up the system to do that. So if you don't want to do that right now, watch what I do. I'm just going to close that. And look right here, client credentials. I've got his email address here, and if I want to reset the password, let's say I forgot that temporary password. I didn't feel like doing it then, but now I want to send Jim his login and his password to the client software. I can just set up a new password right here. I can just set up sample1 and update password. Password's now sample1. You can send that over to your client. So sending credentials out is really easy. Here's something else that might have caught your eye. Look right here. If you don't have QuickBooks or later QuickBooks Desktop or Xero, because those will all be, you'll have options to automatically sync those. Right now we have QBO ready to go. But let's say you don't have any of those bookkeeping softwares. Let's say you're on a more manual software like Thomson Reuters or something like that. You can use this manual data entry function. So watch when I click this. So now what's happened is I can use manual data entry to enter business income and business expense. So let's say that the income, what I project the annual income for the business to be, is going to be $325,000, and that I project their annual expense to be $85,000. Now remember, this is annual. So this is what you're thinking that the annual income number and expense number is going to be. When I did that, look at what happened up here. Look at this. It's already calculated the tax savings potential using the planners, because as an accountant, you get the full functionality for all your clients inside the accountant portal. So it's already calculated what the savings potential is. So if I need a quick sales pitch to somebody, so let's say a business owner comes in and says, you know what, Chris, I'm thinking about using you guys, but I mean, how much can you really save me? I say, well, tell me what this year, what you think your business income and your business expense is going to be. Just off the top of your head, give me an idea of what you think it's going to be. And they tell me $325 grand and $85,000 in expenses. I go, okay, let me plug this into my system. Yep, I can already see that I can probably suggest at least $77,000 worth of savings to you. So it's just a quick, easy way to get this done. You'll also recognize most of these data entry amounts because they translate to what is in the client software. Only they're laid out a little more streamlined where you can just very quickly enter information here. Anything you enter here goes into the client side. Anything that's entered on the client side gets translated to this system too. So they're bidirectional sync, and so it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use the accountant's summary here for the client and see how I can jump around to different clients. Here I can jump to different people here. I'll go back over to the account we were using just a minute ago. And here you can see I'm not using manual data entry, and I've actually got QuickBooks connected. And I can disconnect it from here if I want to. But I can enter all of or change information right here. So again, the accountant portal is meant to just kind of sit on top of the client software. Let's say I want to go into the client software. All I have to do is click this button called Ghost In. And that's what we call it when an accountant goes into a client's Tax Planner Pro software. And remember, you can be in there at the same time as the client. That doesn't cause any problems or have any issues. So that's it. You've got the client list, you've got the summary screen, and then before we take a look at the courses, let me show you the profile screen of the accountant portal. Here, you can enter your company name, your logo. You can change your password to your portal. And then a very exciting section of the accountant portal is the courses tab here. And this is the tax planning mastery course. Look at all the videos here. Look at all of this. Hours and hours of not just training you how to do tax planning and implement the service in your firm, but everything I know about how I run my business and anything I think might be of help to you, I've entered it here. So take advantage of this. This is all included with your accountant portal subscription. So jump in here and watch these videos if you're wanting some help implementing the system. So that's about everything I can think to show you about the accountant's portal and about the client software. Let me show you a little bit about a question I get a lot. And I've brought you to the pricing page of the Tax Planner Pro. This is the retail side. And I get a lot of questions of, Chris, I'd like to, do you have a 14-day free trial, something like that? For accountants, I don't. So the accountant's portal, you have to choose a package right away. But probably the biggest reason most people want to do a 14-day free trial is to take a look at how the business QuickBooks Online Sync or the desktop sync or the Zero Sync, how all of that works. And you can test this by using this light version of the client software. So just click Get Started. It is forever free, and it does the business tax projection for you. And for $2 more a month, you get to see the personal tax projections, and then you can get the full professional side. But don't go buying any of these. Just test the sync and make sure it works the way you thought it would. And then go buy one of the accountant's packages. And all you have to do is click the accountant's tab up at the top. And down below, you can see the pricing for the different packages. It's $39 for up to 10 clients and then $99 for up to 150 clients. You also, with the RTP designee package, get to sit for the registered tax planner exam, to where you can use the registered tax planner designation behind your name. You've got the special registered tax planner support hotline, and then all the events and meetings that we do with the RTP group. There's a Facebook group. We have a monthly meeting. We have 2 events a year that are larger kind of seminar events. So it's very much worth being in this package if you have more than 10 clients. If you don't have more than 10 clients at first that you're thinking, try it out with the mini. And then as you realize that this is going to grow my practice, this is going to make me a lot of money, you'll be over in the RTP side in no time. That's at least what we've seen so far with accountants that they sign up. So that's my demo in its entirety. Remember, this is about making more money. On the website, on the accountant side, I have a video right here about how this system will make you more money. It goes into more detail than I went into on this demo about how to make more money using this software. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Reach out to me directly, and you can do that by emailing me, and I'll put that up on the screen at the end of this presentation, my contact information. Email me, ask me any questions that you have about the software, and let's get started. Give this a shot. I think it's going to be a game changer for you. From all of us at Tax Planner Pro, my name is Christopher Reagan. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.